Welcome to the Next Question podcast here at Maxwell Studios. And today we have a very, very, very special guest,
Wow.
Mr. Patrick Dearborn, someone near and dear to my heart. I know a good
fellow
friend of yours
veteran,
as
fellow
well.
veteran. Air Force still counts. Fellow veteran, man, and just a patriot. I mean, YVETTE Benarrocch, welcome to the show. We are so glad to have you, live audience here, man.
Well, thank you for having me. Air Force is the best, Patrick.
Wow, listen, I'm not going to argue that. You guys had the best steak. You had the best eggs Benedict.
Best football team, too.
I mean, sometimes they made you all wake up like by 9 a.m. I mean, wake up really early.
Jarrett's Air Force, too, isn't he?
Tim
That's
Jarrett.
right. We got the best. You're just jealous.
Tim Jarrett's softer than a soggy piece of Wonder Bread, man.
Hi, Tim.
Yeah,
we love Tim Jarrett.
Started
Timmy
early.
G. For the first time ever, and I said it off camera.
Okay.
First time ever, live in person, way more beautiful than your poster.
First time ever?
So whatever Photoshop you're using.
They get all the other people that came on.
Yeah, no, the poster looked better. But I'm just going to tell you right now, YVETTE, way more stunning in person than that poster. So we got to talk to our poster person, Jim Markley, man. We got to step our game up.
We love MGX Naples,
We
though.
do.
They do a
Mega
great job with the
graphics.
posters.
Let's go.
Yep. So who do we have on today, Pat?
So, I mean, look, YVETTE is somebody that I actually got kind of tied in with you through Erica and Byron. And I jumped on Team YVETTE back in 2024. I know she was running in 2023. But I
knew her before.
I did. We met all the time. She was one of those people that was really outspoken with big cojones, talking about COVID at See the Table. Alfie had his car wrapped. I think YVETTE had her car wrapped first before Alfie had his wrapped. So I'd see her in her little car driving around, supporting Trump, going back as far as the grand opening almost of See the Table. And I just liked her fire right away before I even knew what she stood for. I just liked her passion and her fire. YVETTE was also there when we did during COVID, the first big, huge event ever at See the Table. It was outside, inside for all the veterans with Lois Bolin and Wayne. I was blessed to be the MC for that event. YVETTE was there. What a really, really cool day that was. You remember that day?
Yeah, amazing. Anything with veterans.
You always show up.
Yes,
I
we got to
appreciate
show
you
up.
doing that. That's awesome. By the way, you show up in general. Even if it's something that you're against, you ain't scared. YVETTE's going to show up. She's going to speak her mind. I love when you won in 2024. You won against a pretty big moneyed person.
Yeah, how much money was spent in that campaign by your opponent?
Probably close to $2 million on his side. Yeah, almost a million. Almost a million self-funded, and then the other $1 million.
And that was a nasty campaign.
Is that person? I hated it. Is that person like a city council at Marco Island or something, or not involved at all?
He was a city councilman.
Yeah,
Just one. Yeah. And we're not going to say the name. Doesn't matter. But speaking of big money, I'm going to jump right into it, man. So we got a huge primary coming up. YVETTE, obviously, you know, for the record, those that don't know, we are team YVETTE Benarrocch from day one. Pat Gyra, myself, the Next Question podcast show. I know you're, by the way, before we forget, and before I say her name, what do you think about this studio, this podcast, and the big speakeasy out there? What'd you think?
It is beautiful. And the person that you haven't said her name, she's an amazing,
you can say her name.
An amazing woman. Lauren is just an amazing woman, an amazing friend.
Yeah.
She's going to try to stop down and say hi.
Support her from day one, but most of all, she loves this community and she does so much for this community. Like words can't even express my gratitude for her.
That's awesome. Yeah, she's in the Maxwell studios here. It's just an amazing place. Every person, you've not been to an event here. The events now that, again, the place is for rent. Contact Pat Gyra and Gyra Media, but it's filling up. And I've seen multiple events. I've been a part of it and watched from afar. It is amazing how many people, first of all, we can squeeze out in that room.
Yeah.
But the energy and the way people come in here and see what a real podcast studio looks like with a makeup room, a green room, and then that speakeasy out there. Lauren does it. She does it big. She's been a supporter of yours since day one. And how about her amazing husband, Dan Kowal, man? Mr. Common Sense, Law and Order. I've said it a million times.
Dan Kowal.
We are blessed. We're not perfect. We're not perfect in Cuyahoga County.
Dan Kowal's pretty close to perfect, though. He's about as close
as
you can get.
I said
no,
we,
I know.
As Freedom Town, USA, we're not perfect, but we are blessed to have common sense, veteran, experienced, conservative leaders like YVETTE, like Dan Kowal, like Chris Hall, running our county. Sheriff Rambosch, Jim Bloom. I'll go Tim Mosier for school board and Jeff Donaldson is going to hopefully be elected. I'm going to go me personally.
Elected already.
He's already elected. That's right. So God bless
Great
him.
guy too,
Talk about a man of faith.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a pastor. That school board meetings now are going to get real fun because we got fighters on that board. And I'm glad to see that as a resident here in Freedom Town, USA. But I just love the passion that this community has. I will tell you, I'm already getting burnt out on the politics stuff. We talked about it off camera. So Yvette, you've been through it. You've been a part of other campaigns, and you've obviously been through it as dirty and ugly as it gets. How does that make you feel when you now, after going through and crawling through 4 miles of shit and coming out elected on the other side, and people attacking you, attacking your character, and it was all a bunch of BS. And those that liked you and respected you never wavered. People kept telling you weren't going to win. I never doubted you weren't going to win. Neither did Pat Gyra. Is there some real good, like, yeah, I told you at the end, or are you just thankful that you got through it?
Well, number one, I'm thankful, but yes, it was, I told you so.
Good.
It's interesting because politics, I'm not a politician. I always said the reason why
You're
I
too
ran
nice
is
to be a
because
politician.
I love my community, and I just didn't think regular people were being represented. And so when Congressman Donalds thought I would be a great person to fill Bob Rommel's seat in District 81, I told the congressman, I appreciate that. I'm a working class girl. I don't have a lot of money, but if you think I'm the best person, if you give me your endorsement, I will run. And that's exactly what he did. So I'm going to say, Team Yvette was formed because Congressman Byron Donalds believed in me when, to be honest, you just said it, not many people did. You guys did because you've known me for a little while there, but not many people did. But I've been in this community for over 20 years, came from Puerto Rico with literally a luggage and a cousin in Naples.
Let's go, PR.
Yeah, PR.
PR.
And today I'm sitting in the Florida house. And I often say, only in this country you can come from nothing and make something out of yourself. I say it all the time because I want to inspire other people. There's nothing you can do. I mean, it was hard work. 'Cause I'm glad I don't have a primary this time around because let me tell you, it was tough because you need a little bit of everything. But I've been around for a while doing the grassroots movement. And so my campaign was all about grassroots. And just raise enough money to do what we needed to do.
That was a really tough and nasty campaign. And I think Tim told you the story. A gentleman came up to shake my hand at one of the polling stations. I refused to shake his hand because he just absolutely ran a nasty and dirty campaign.
You know what? It's funny. It's no different than being how we live our lives. Right? She's right. Politics. She's not a politician. Dan Kowal's not a politician. Yeah. I'm not a politician. I'm a realtor in real life. But I also love being a fire commissioner. But I think people that know me, even the haters of Pat Dearborn will tell you, Pat Dearborn's real. He speaks his mind. I'm not afraid. And that's one thing that stood out about Yvette from the first time I met her is you were unafraid to speak truth. You were unafraid to stand up for what you thought was important. And talk about endorsements. I mean, other than Trump endorsing Byron, think about one big endorsement. And I'm not going to equate those two, but that's about as big as you can get for a state rep to have the future governor of Florida, the U.S. congressman from our district, and somebody very well respected ask you to run and then back you up. That was a huge deal.
And he really went hard for you.
He did.
We did a commercial together.
Yeah.
Kudos to Byron
Yes.
Not
Donalds
only
and
Congressman
Erica,
Donalds, Senator Scott.
Senator Scott, Senator at the
Sheriff
time
Carmine,
Rubio,
yeah.
Wow.
Carmine Marcino,
Secretary of State
Yes,
Rubio.
Secretary of State
I remember
now.
that.
Congressman Diaz-Balart.
Yes.
I
Cue the
speak
mafia.
of my
Let's go.
grassroots experience since 2018, and sometimes you don't feel like anybody's looking at you. You just do it because you want to make this country better.
We're looking at you.
Right?
You look beautiful. I'm looking at you.
But all that hard work paid off because the reason why they endorsed me is because they saw how hard I worked for them.
You showed up at everything.
And I show up.
Was there ever a time during that campaign you were kind of, when all the smear tactics and all the nastiness, where you're like, I'm not sure I want to do
No,
this?
to be honest, no, because, going into politics, like I don't think anything personal until this day, even in my regular life. I often say, I have to pay my bills. Nobody pays my bills. So you can be part of my life or you don't have to be part of my life. That is, for people to choose. And I'm the same way. So when it comes to politics and when I ran, it gets nasty. It's part of the political world. What I don't like is when they come after your business or your family. Because my family is not the one running, right?
You.
And you can come after me. You can say whatever you want
I
about me
agree.
because I'm the one on the ballot.
Sure.
But I don't agree when it gets really nasty towards family members. We all have kids. You know, we have children. We have husbands,
Your
wives.
husband, your
You know,
sons are
family
awesome.
mothers. Yeah, and it's just not right. And it's gotten very nasty. And this right now, I mean, this primary season,
Have you
Crazy.
horrible,
in a
horrible.
Republican primary? Have you seen anything quite as kind of nasty
Yeah.
as this?
Yeah.
You know, for Republicans, unfortunately, like primaries, and
Which one
it
would you
breaks my
put
heart.
into it?
No, this is one of the
2020 when Byron
Yeah.
ran the first time. Dan Cowell.
But this is even dirtier. This is even worse.
Dr. Fig.
I think this is
but
worse.
This is, I don't know if
I
because
think this
social
is
media is
worse.
more prevalent
Yeah,
now
it
than
is.
2020. But no, this is personal and nasty and just vile. You know, the stuff coming out.
But Pat, and I'm running again for reelection, but isn't that part of, and I think it's horrible, but isn't that a sad fact of society in general? You look at DC, look at the temperament, look at the media, look at social media, look at the internet, look at what's on TV. That's just where we're going, guys. If you think it's going to get less adversarial, less ugly,
Yeah, but
next
some
year
of
than
the
it is this year.
attacks on Congressman, they're
they're
flat out
they're horrible.
personal and racist.
They're
Quite
1,000%.
honestly,
1,000%.
It's just really hard to
But
watch.
I think as Republicans and people of faith, because we are the
Amen.
people of faith, right? We are the people that believe we need more God and less government. That is what the Republican Party believes.
Amen.
So it hurts. It breaks actually my heart to see
Fellow
how
Republicans.
how bad fellow Republicans go against other Republicans, because then when the general comes, they give all that ammunition to the other side, and
Especially when
that's how we lose.
I mean, I don't think these guys are that stupid. Congressman Donalds is going to be the nominee, so at some point you would think they're going to get behind him. Or
No, I can tell you. So all three of us were there at the CCREC meeting when James Fishback. I was there when James Fishback was invited to come speak. I listened to him speak. I actually had zero the whole time I was watching him. This is me speaking. I'm like, I wish I was up there right now and I could debate this guy, because I would pick that guy apart, and I'm nobody. That's how horrible I thought he did. The way he talks, monotone, no personality, this like smug, smirk little thing. And his minions, they're all feeding into this thing, whatever their thing is, anti-Israel, anti-Netanyahu, anti-data centers. They're not informed. But we gave them an opportunity. We're Republicans. Classic. No one stood up. No one shouted. No one pushed people around. No one yelled, Byron Donalds, Byron Donalds, Byron Donalds. We were very respectful. We invited Jay Collins. Everybody did the same. We invite Byron Donalds, who lives here in Collier County, who's been a member of our CCREC and that grassroots movement since the beginning, him and Erica. And what do? The James Fishback crew comes in, no class, no respect. They put people throughout the audience to disrupt, to try to enrage us. And I'm just thankful. I thought they had to worry about me. I had Dan Cowell next to me, so I know Dan Cowell was going to keep the peace and keep me out of trouble. But I will tell you, I saw somebody bump into and push Wayne and Lois, and I had to, for a moment, I almost had a Pat Dearborn 82nd Airborne moment, and I was able to, cooler heads prevailed. I'm going to tell you right now, I know I wasn't the only one that was about ready to knock somebody out. And I'm thankful that our state representative chose to take the higher ground. But it's not easy. When people are attacking what we stand for, they have a way of pushing our buttons, and that's what they want us to do. They want to push our button. They want to make you get so angry with their iPhones that they capture you on film doing something.
Well, you see the guy in the wheelchair. He was like, "You get that? You get that?" I mean, that was the whole.
He wasn't a fake wheelchair guy, but he was a plant. That whole thing was staged to get a couple clips, shock news video. So look, all I know, my takeaways from that day are, again, I think Byron Donalds is the coolest, calmest cucumber. Every time I've seen him, I've been with him at the table when fellow Republicans surrounded us, spit in our faces, calling us rhinos, calling me a rhino. And I wanted to fight about 5 of them and knock them out. and how calm and cool Byron Donalds held that with such class and respect. I learned things from Byron, man. I have, because it's okay to be passionate, and it's okay to know that you're willing to stand up. This person next to us, between us, is a fighter. She fights for veterans. She fights for our community. And if pushed too hard, or people threaten her family and threaten her friends, she's not scared to fight. Okay, so that's what she volunteered to do for our country. And I have that same thing instilled in my DNA. But they do this on purpose to try to trigger us so they can get clips. And I'm just
we understand that freedom of speech is there for a reason, and it's not to agree with the speech that we like. It's actually to agree to make sure that people have the ability to speak freely when we disagree about things. What I don't like is, because you can, like I said, we can have a conversation and you can disagree with me. You can call me whatever you want. That is your freedom to do that. But when you start like touching people and getting on their faces, that is different. Now you took it to another level, right? And so I think that's where we are these days. People think like they have the right to do that. No, you have the right to speak, and I'll listen to you, or I don't, because I have that right too.
You don't have the right to harass.
That's right.
My family.
That's right.
To come to my home on my property, scream vulgar things, threaten things. Listen, I know personally Byron and Erica have been threatened. Some of the racist remarks that have been said hurt me so much. I don't give a rat's butt what somebody's skin color is. We all bleed red. I love people who bleed red, white, and blue. And I'm standing next to one right now, which is why I support her from day one. And that may sound a little bit cliche, but Pat, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, where we're headed, it's even less Republican and Democrat. It's coming down to, I'm telling you, good versus evil, light versus darkness, and pro-America or anti-America. That's it. That's the name tags that we're being forced down to see. And the left, they don't even hide anymore. They're anti-American. They're anti-God. They're anti-faith. And they are anti-anything that resembles any kind of a patriotic, God-fearing, conservative country. And I'm going to tell you right now, as long as there's life in my body, I'm going to fight for it, for my kids, for my grandkids. And that's why I love that she's going to get reelected to represent our state, because Florida is the greatest state in the country, but we're not perfect. We got some big fish to fry coming up here in November on the ballot. I'm going to jump into that next. But I'm thankful that we've got somebody looking out for us and looking out as a fellow veteran, looking out for what matters with our veterans. And before I forget, quick shout out to Yvette and everybody, our county commissioners, Bert Saunders, everybody that was involved, that veteran center coming to Collier County.
Amazing.
The best in the country, dare I say. Like, it's going to be a game changer for us.
We're going to be the envy of the state.
That's unbelievable. So thank you for being a part of that and making sure that happened.
Well, talk about how you got involved in politics and why, Yvette.
So 2018, if I remember, one of the first people I supported, besides knowing Byron, was Senator Scott. So I think that was the first campaign
Governor
when he was going for the Senate.
The Senate seat.
Yes. And so I got involved there. And then after that, I just fell in love with the party and the activism part of it, because I'm very community oriented. I'm a doer, so I don't ask, I just go do. And I felt like the Republican Party wasn't doing a good job reaching out to people like me, Latinos. And this is not about DEI, because people get confused. This is about reaching out to communities that don't look like you, right? Because we do need those votes. And the reason why I got involved was because another Puerto Rican lady came to my door. Actually, she came knocking for Senator Scott, Governor Scott at the time. And so I got involved in that campaign. And then I got involved with the Republican women at the state level. And so that's how I started. And then I volunteered for every campaign there was. With my own money, I drove around the state reaching out to the Hispanic community to make sure they understood that we're conservatives, because we are. We're God family country. We are conservatives. And Puerto Ricans especially, we're blessed to be Americans. So all we have to do is come to this great country and make something out of ourselves. And a lot of Puerto Ricans came after Hurricane Maria. And that's a part of the population that we need to do better reaching out to, because they're voters. And they're actually swing voters. They don't marry one party or another. But the one thing President Trump did that got them the vote was the economy. All those people care about is to make sure that they can give their families a better future than they have. So if they have more money to do that, then they're happy and they will vote for that person. And so that's what I did for the longest time, was reaching out to the Latino community to make sure they
great job.
understood.
29% gain with Hispanic voters in
Yes.
2024, correct?
Correct.
Now, I am reading that a lot of that is going away too. How do you feel about?
It has, for different reasons. I sometimes feel like national politics affects down ballot. What I would say is we need to do a better job educating those communities because they need to understand, the media doesn't give you the right information, right? They feed you
fake
what they want to
news.
feed you. And to be honest, nobody is against immigration. Let's get that out. Nobody is
100%.
against people coming into this country
Legally.
What we're against is people that come here legally. It's like Marco Rubio said it best the other day. I was watching something on
Love
social
him, by
media.
the way.
He said this is mass migration. There's no other country you can do that.
Illegal.
Like illegal. Like when you have mass, that is not good. Not only for the countries that's happening to, but for the people that are coming here. Those people are being raped. Those people are being killed. And that is not trafficked. So that is not good for anybody.
Ask Guatemalans what Mexico does to you if you try to cross that border.
Yeah.
So
I mean, go look at any I dare
A country
anyone
without
to go
borders is not
look
a
at a
country,
country.
right?
That's right.
Look at Europe, guys.
Mhm.
They got overrun. Europe is not Europe. And we're seeing
Some
that
of the
right now.
some of the countries there, yeah.
It's not. And now they're trying to reverse.
It's
Trump in
it's
America kind of
ridiculous.
gave some of these countries a path to go, you know what, we got to stand up. Otherwise, we're not going to be a country of Ireland and England and France and Spain and Germany. So,
And we don't have unlimited resources. So when you have people that serve this country, which is what makes me angrier than anything else. So we volunteer to serve. We come back, and regardless, we all come back broken somehow. Some ones you see, some you don't. But a lot of our veterans, get addicted to drugs. They end up homeless, and we abandon them. And so we don't have those resources. Why are we then
giving resources
out when
unlimited
we can't even take care of our own?
backwards, yeah.
Right? And that
100%.
is the issue I have. If we had, like, in your household, like, I take care of my children first, and then I go out and help
Mhm.
everybody else. It should be the same concept for this country.
Well
and there's
put.
nothing wrong with being proud of the United States of America. Not a perfect country, but the best country in the world.
100%. I don't see a rush of people trying to get out. It's people trying to get in. So
But Pat, you brought up a good point.
Mhm.
This is when I first met her. She had her car wrapped.
the little mini.
She had a wrap for a guy by the name of Donald J. Trump that nobody gave a shot to run the first time. What made you love, if I can use that
Pick
word,
him.
really, but not just pick them, but you were like me. You were very emphatic and very passionate about supporting our president. That's question one. And question two is, has that changed? But answer question one first. What about Donald Trump got you so passionate where you wrapped your car, you were a walking, talking billboard for him, especially with Latino voters?
So the two things. Number one, he's a business guy, and I always thought that government should be kind of ran like a business. I mean, businesses are there for profit, but there's things we can do at the government level that you do in your business world. So as a business owner, I appreciated that. Yeah. But the other thing is, so I'm very passionate, and I speak my mind, right? And so I appreciated that he was who he was. Love him or hate him, he is who he is, and he doesn't hide it.
Mhm.
And so I appreciate that, because a lot of times I think we get accustomed to lies. Politicians are very good at lying, and they whisper lies in your ears, and people get accustomed to that. So when you get a guy here that's telling you exactly what you don't want to hear, but it's the truth, then people get offended. People get like, oh my God. Well, you got to pick. Should we lie to you, or should we tell the truth? I always I will always say the truth. When people come to see me to my office, I'll say, we might not agree on things, but you will always know where I stand. And I hope you give me the same back, right? Because it's a two-way street. So I think those are the two things. I thought it was authentic, and the business background.
Okay. You made a comment a second ago about the whispers. And I don't care if I'm watching Gladiator, where it showed the old Greek the old Roman Senate, all the whispers and the backstabbing and all that. Give us some insight. Tallahassee. Is it swampy on certain days in Tallahassee? Meaning that like DC, we call DC the swamp. Is there some swampiness that occurs up in Tallahassee? And are there the whispers and the backstabbing, all the things that we, the people, associate with a lot of politicians?
So it's very different. So that was one of the things that actually surprised me when I got to the State House. It's not like what you see on TV with DC. It's very different.
Okay.
It's politics. So I always say it's politics. It's like a snake pit, right? There's always different kinds of people serving. So there's those that are there for financial gain. There's those that have big egos, and there's those that are there to truly serve. So loyalty in politics is very rare, but you do find it. I mean, I found, I give you an example, my freshman class, all 22 of us, we got elected. We're very diverse. We're very close.
Awesome.
Very close. And the other thing we have to understand, we all come from different areas of the state, and every area is different. And I tell you, I represent the best district. We are like in a bubble here. I am telling you, this is the best
trademark pending
district in the whole state.
People that don't know what covers your district.
So it's District 81. I'm only Collier County, and I have both cities, City of Naples and City of Marco Island along the coast. But I tell you, this is the best district, the best county in the whole state. And so when I go around and I travel a lot of the state because I want to understand when I take votes, like what I'm voting for and why, people are requesting that. There's a lot of needs, and we don't see that here. A lot of the problems that other counties have, we really don't have, because of many reasons. I mean, we have great people, we have a lot of wealth, but with big hearts, right? And great elected officials. I mean, we have great commissioners, and
great county commissioners.
Yeah, and so I think that's part of why we're good. We're not perfect, as you say. We can always improve, but it's probably the greatest county in the state.
Go ahead.
You said the freshman class, but someone that's been serving in Tallahassee, anyone kind of help mentor you or show you the ropes up there?
Great question.
So going back to when I ran, Representative Lauren Mello, who's now running for the Senate to replace our great Senator Catherine.
Shout out to my fellow realtor,
Yes.
Lauren Mello. She's awesome.
She mentored me. She took me under her wings. And if anybody's running for office, you need that person that you need to call to vent. And then that person tells you, get back and go knock on more doors or go back and raise more money. You really need that because, like I said, my primaries for Republicans are brutal. I can't even put it into context. They are brutal. Crazy. And so you need that person to get you back. For me, I love knocking on doors. So anytime I knocked on doors, and people talked to me and they were so grateful that I even knocked on their door because they were like, is it really you? Because I guess a lot of people do not knock on doors, but I did.
Somebody knocks on my door in today's world, I hit the deck, turn the lights off. I'm like, who is at my door? 20 years ago, man, you're like, welcome to man, had an Entenmann's cake, like, wow, we're having company. I don't want to, but when you get done telling the story, I got to ask you what your wildest, craziest door knock story is. So I want to hear that next, but go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, but they were so grateful that somebody took the time to go there and ask, what are your issues? Because that's the difference between the federal government and the state government. That's why I love state policy is that the things we do at the state level actually affect your everyday life.
1000%.
Every day, every decision we make. At the federal level, not much touches you, but when you talk about state and local,
sure,
that is what affects your everyday life. So I would say we need to pay more attention to state policy, state officials, local officials. We don't pay enough because we don't have the big microphone, right? So
school
this
board.
is why I appreciate this so much.
Democrats made inroads.
Yeah.
No, man. Level, yeah.
Let me tell you, we gained 1 million seats. I saw on Florida's Voice or something in the last 4 years, and we're all bragging about 1 million more Republicans. But are they really? I've met a lot of people. I'm sorry, but I'm going to call out the person that Dan Kowal ran against, and he had a tough race, Penny Taylor. No disrespect to anybody. You can be whatever name tag you want to be. But if you're going to tell me you're a Republican and you're really not, for some reason in this state, there are those that claim they are Republican just so they can get elected.
Yeah. They're
99.9999999% Democrat and liberal leaning, but they run as a Republican. And I don't like that at all. But
the other thing, they have to turn out because it doesn't matter if you have 1 million and if they don't turn out to vote, I mean, and we saw that in some special elections that we had on the state. We literally lost a Senate seat at the state level, and we lost a House seat at the state level because Republicans did not turn out to vote. And I can't even emphasize how important it is for people to go out to vote. We have a primary August 18th. We need to go out and vote, and then the general in November. Numbers don't matter if they don't turn out.
1,000%. Are you nervous at all about this upcoming primary in regards to who our next leader is going to be at the state level for governor? Because you said something a minute ago that was so...
The primary or the general?
Well, both. But you said something a minute ago that was so right on point. I was guilty of really, really, really idolizing Donald J. Trump, who I still love as my president. But I've tempered that stuff down because what I realized over the last 8 years, when he won in 2016 and then he had it stolen from him in 2020, it didn't matter. Our governor, my state elected officials had way more impact on me, my business, my livelihood here than Joe Biden ever had.
Right.
So that was eye-opening for me that the real election people need to be fired about is for our governor.
And that
because
was such a close election in
Andrew
2018.
Gillum?
I mean, that was...
Where's Andrew Gillum? Oh, yeah, just got picked up again for drugs and whatever that guy's doing in the privacy of his own Motel 6 hotel room. But we came that close to having that guy as our governor. Let me tell you something.
If Trump doesn't do that rally at Hertz Arena a couple days before, I don't know. Could it look...
Well, and I'm going to go back to your comment about how you...
That was there too, by the way. No. Weren't you at that famous rally?
I was at every rally.
It was my first one, but we all went to the one where Trump, and that's when Byron spoke at that. Yeah. That was an awesome one. And that's when he gave DeSantis that big push. DeSantis barely won that state election over Andrew Gillum.
Razor thin, yeah.
And if Gillum's the governor, look at Michigan. They locked everything down. I'll tell you, guys like me, guys like Alfie, we'd be in jail.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. They would have locked us up and Byron, because we spoke out against them. You came down to those meetings. We spoke out against the county trying to lock us down, trying to get Sheriff Rambos to go fine citizens for not wearing masks. Right. For walking down the beach. They try to close our beaches. So
I would be no seat at the table if Andrew Gillum was...
Yvette was there too. She would come to those meetings like Byron, like myself, like Alfie, like a bunch of other people, and would speak out all the time. So thank you for doing that too. It's not always easy being the voice and standing up for something.
No, but never, like, the one thing I've learned is you shouldn't be idolizing politicians. We are just regular...
Or wrap your car.
Really?
Well,
anybody.
No, it's okay, but we
really should.
You were caught up in it too. I was
we're
too.
not
people
perfect.
Are human. You put people on a pedestal.
We're not perfect. We are just regular people, just that got elected into office. But the reality is, we're imperfect humans, and the only person that's perfect and we should be idolizing is God, if you believe in it. And so, I always say it's like a marriage, right? Like, I love my husband, but I don't agree with him.
Hey.
100% of the time.
Many times, right?
Say that.
But I'm not gonna divorce him every time we don't agree.
Exactly.
And it's the same with us. So sometimes we gotta make decisions that you disagree with, but people forget the other 99 things that we did right.
Right.
And so
like your kids. You have
and there's votes that we take, because remember, when we take votes, like, I would never, like, when it comes to principle, I don't go away from that. But there's a lot of things that you negotiate things just for the whole state. That's the way we do things, and that's the way you get things done. But when it comes to my core values, I am no. So I'd rather not talk about those things. Let's talk about the things that we can agree on that are going to benefit, people, seniors, veterans, children. Those things shouldn't be partisan, right? Because I say three things that should be non-partisan, and I don't know why we made it partisan and why we haven't been paying attention, is access to education. If we believe what this country stands for, which is the opportunity for people to be better, and succeed, then three things should happen. They should have access to good education, everyone, regardless the zip code. Number two, access to health care, because if you're not healthy, then nothing matters. And number three, we need to be safe. Those are the three things that as government we should be focusing on. And then when it comes to your core values, you just don't go from there. I'm very conservative. I don't hide from that. people know where I stand.
Right.
And when somebody comes to my office to talk about things that I listen, but I say, you're not going to move me and I'm not going to move you. So I'd rather talk about something else that maybe we can negotiate and agree on.
Yeah.
So it's a great conversation, man. She's real.
Mhm.
So now it's a great segue because you just mentioned how you stick to your court.
By the way, not to interrupt you, but to get back to that, how do you think the governor, Congressman Donald's going to win the primary?
Congressman Donald's gonna
the
win.
general.
So Congress is going to win the primary. And I'm going to remind the people in this county, I remember one time.
I'm looking out there at our audience.
I'm
watching
going to remind the people in this county that
there's like
Congressman
10 of them that need
Donalds
to pay
is a
attention.
true grassroots. He's been in the grassroots
Stop hating
movement
on
since I have known him, even before I got involved in politics. And I remember
1000%.
one time we were at the courthouse. We had a protest. 5 women and Congressman Donald showed up, and there was like 200 liberals protesting. And we were there in that corner fighting.
What was that for? Do you remember?
I can't remember what it was, but it was at the courthouse.
Probably something extreme and
And
crazy,
we
like not having boys
yeah,
in
it,
girls'
no, it
locker
was
rooms.
something like, yeah,
Shame on
something
y'all for
really
supporting that.
crazy. And so I remind people, he stood with us in corners when nobody else would. He would speak up when we needed somebody to speak
ain't
up.
It's like, oh, that's been erased. Like
Yes.
he just,
Yes.
No,
know.
but again, you got to remember that 10% of people, because the media is the media and social media is the social media, it gives these people a platform way bigger than what their actual vote count's going to be. So if you listen to some of these crazy little polls I see on social media and the YouTubers and the TikTokers and the Snapchatters, these 20-something-year-olds think that Fishback has a legitimate shot. He ain't got a shot. And I'm going to tell you now, you're never going to hear from that guy again. I guarantee it. I'm sorry. Fishback, you'll never hear from him again. That's my personal 2 cents worth. But I do want to jump on something that she touched on. Has nothing to do with Byron Donalds. You ready? You just mentioned your core values, which I respect and love. Walk me through, I think, the biggest thing, other than our next governor and other than great people like you getting reelected and Patrick Dearborn as fire commissioner November 5th. I think the big issue in the room and on that ballot is going to be that property tax thing. Now, I've talked to you offline. You've been very receptive. You don't hide. Walk us through, because I'm asking on behalf of my firefighters, my chief, that staff, because they are all on a state level and a local level. All first responders that I've talked to and heard from are all coming out against, I think it's Amendment 3. Amendment 3 is this property tax bill. And I'm just going to say it. Even though somebody on TV, Ron DeSantis, looked right in that camera and told me I wasn't going to pay property tax anymore, that sounded awesome. And as a realtor, I'm like, wow, I'm going to sell a ton of houses.
Too good to be true. It usually is.
I got you. But what came out and what I didn't realize was going to happen is it's going to cut into the budgets of firefighters, EMS, and law enforcement on a statewide level. So I want to ask my favorite state representative, her and Lauren Mello, Bob Rommel, retired, but I love Bob Rommel too. Walk us through how that got through, and are you happy with it in its current form that'll be on the ballot?
So the governor came out over a year ago saying that he wanted to eliminate property taxes. And I'm going to say the intention is good, because you should not have to rent from the government.
Agreed.
You shouldn't have to choose between a cancer treatment or paying your taxes after you pay your mortgage, because you will lose your home. And nobody should lose their home because they don't pay the property taxes, because you're renting from the government. So saying that, I know the intent, that was the intent. However, when we started looking into this property tax, it's a very complicated issue, right? There's a lot tied into property taxes. And when you start digging, you have exemptions, you have like school tax, you have all these other little taxes that we have.
Millage rates for firefighters.
So it was not an easy thing to do. However, the governor did promise that we were going to have something on the ballot. Our job in the House was to make sure that there was something for the voters to decide, because for us in the legislature, we shouldn't decide for you. Like, the people should be the ones voting for this. So The governor came out with a plan after a year. And then,
Sorry, Laura Maxwell just came down. So now the show, everybody's getting all nervous
His
because
phone's-
we're in our studio.
his
But
phone's dropping.
wow, I mean, it's crazy now. But I know Lauren was a fan, so shout out to Laura Maxwell. She's in the house.
So the governor came out with a plan, and the House didn't agree with certain things, and one of them was the school tax. And the reason I go back to education, access to education, it's important. And so we didn't want to touch that. We did say that public safety wasn't the first thing you could cut. But there's other things that are not protected. To be honest, if you love animals and if you love libraries, those things might get cut. I'm being as blunt as I can. But the House came out with the best product that we could come out with before November.
Was it rushed?
The reason why I think it wouldn't have enough time is because it took the governor a long time to come up with a plan. And I'm not in any way blaming the governor because I think he's done a great job. But again, it's a complicated issue. It is not as easy as people think.
Right.
And so what I would say is people need to realize when you change the Constitution, it's very hard to change it. So that's what I'm going to say. Number two, we're not eliminating property taxes. So let me get that very clear. This does not eliminate property taxes. So when you look at this Amendment 3, you have to decide, what is most important to you. If you love animals and you think, shelters are going to get hurt, you need to take that in consideration. If you love libraries, because to be honest, there's only like 6 or 7 categories that are protected. Public safety is protected. We wanted to make sure that wasn't the first thing they cut. But I understand that there might be cuts still, but it's said in there, public safety, because that's unfortunately, as honest as I am,
Yes.
it's interesting to me that the first thing they said they're going to cut is public safety because that's what moves people, right? Well, we said, no, you can't do that. That is said there. But people need to decide what's more important to them. You need to do your research. You need to ask questions. I've had talks all over the county.
You've been great.
And I'm not telling people how to vote. Everybody wanted something on the ballot. We gave you something on the ballot. You have to think there's no replacement of revenue. So another thing I talk about is, some local governments, and I'm not talking about my county because I think about the whole state.
Yes.
Some governments are overspending and wasting taxpayer. Actually, my bill, House Bill 1329, that I ran with the Chief Financial Officer of the state, the great Blaise Ingoglia, actually says that local governments have to be transparent when it comes to budgets. Because the one thing I found when I did that bill was that
they're not being transparent.
No, we couldn't find budgets. You needed like a doctor's degree to even understand what that budget was. And people at any level, with any level of education, should be able, because you pay taxes. You should be able to go online and line by line know where your money goes. And that's not what we found. So that bill that was signed by the governor says you need to be more transparent.
Great job on that bill. I like that.
So regardless what happens, and I would say you need 60% or more for that to happen. And it's hard to get 60%. I know, the police and the firemen, came out and they're
Against
it. And many other entities are. What I would say to those voters is do your research, think what's most important to you, and think about, there's no replacement of revenue. So what's going to happen is at the local level, how are they going to replace the revenue? Well, they're going to call it a fee, but any fee that a government gives you is a tax. So they call it a fee because it sounds a little better, but it is a tax. It is a tax.
Or they make it sound like some little name like it's a penny tax.
Yeah.
Oh, a penny.
But again, it is up to
I
the
can
people
afford
to
a penny.
decide if they want it or not. Like, I'm not one for more taxes ever, but if somebody
Good.
wants to vote that way, that's their problem.
But Yvette, okay, real quick. Thank you for explaining all that. And I know and I believe everything you just said. And not you, but Tallahassee exempted the schools. And I know the intention was to exempt safety, right? And by the way, for the sidebar, I don't want to see any animal shelters get shut down. I don't want to see anything. Listen, we have a lot of, not just animals, we have people that need shelters and places to go for drug abuse and for mental issues. And those are all going to get cut big time. I'm just asking you on behalf of my firefighters. And I know Chief Wolf and Laura Donaldson, our attorney. And I know I speak on Chris Crossan was here from North Collier. The numbers and the facts I see from Amendment 3, if you take 150,000 in Greater Naples Fire Rescue, it's the largest fire district in the state of Florida. Did you know that? And it's about the size of Rhode Island because we encompass a lot of the Everglades. We have about 49,000 doors in my district. And so we're far larger than Marco, Naples, City of Naples, Immokalee, and North Collier put together. 49,000 homes. And the majority of our homes, they're not seasonal, they're not snowbirds, they're homesteaded. And they're, let's just say average, they're in that $300,000 to $600,000 range. If you take $150,000 per house, and then year two, $250,000. Yes, I do believe there's value. I'm one of those homeowners. I would love to see my property taxes get lowered. What I don't understand and what they're asking me is why couldn't we have written it, or hopefully if it doesn't pass, go back and rewrite it correctly? Why can't we exempt our 1.5% millage rate? That's not really property taxes. It's attached to the assessed value. But when you start cutting the assessed values, that's taking literally year one, just ballpark.
Because the governor said he wanted to eliminate property taxes. That was what the governor wanted.
But never said
the governor wanted to eliminate property taxes.
Understood.
He came out with a plan, which the House and the Senate looked at, made some changes.
Yeah. And he's also come out and said he wasn't happy with all the changes.
He wasn't. And you know, but I often say, you know, people say, well, you know, you're always arguing up there. That is how this country was founded, because that's why we have 3 different branches. You know, no branch should be the decider, not one.
Agreed.
Like the executive shouldn't tell the legislative or the judicial how to do their job. And the same for us, not tell the executive or the judicial, and the judicial independent. And the people actually benefit from us not agreeing on things, because then we have to do what is hard for us to do, which is sit down and negotiate and compromise, right? You get the benefit of that. So anytime we have to, you hear we're fighting up there. Yeah, we're fighting because we know there's a better product that we can give you if we actually take the time to sit down and compromise on things. Yeah. And so this is what happened this last 2 years. It usually happens at the end of a governor's house. You know, you have a new
especially at the end of his 8-year run.
Yeah. But it was fine. Ron DeSantis will be in history probably the best governor that this state has had, except like Byron is coming next.
Up to now.
Governor Scott was great too.
Governor Scott, but in different ways.
Right,
though.
of course, yeah.
Different ways, different eras.
Yeah,
I mean, the way
Ron
we
stood up when the country stood still.
and for freedom, when it came to freedom, like when it came to that. And so I still love our governor. I think he did a great job. Do I agree with everything? No. It just like I don't agree with my husband all the time, and that's just the way it is.
Now, let me ask you this, and I know you can't speak for him, but we acknowledge that this general race for governor is going to be really close. Do you think at some point Governor DeSantis is going to get behind Byron?
I think so, because as Republicans, we all have to unite for November. Mm-hmm. You know, this state is a red state. However, you know, we have a lot of things happening at the national level that, again, you know, people look at, and then it affects the state votes. And so I think we have work to do. We have to do better outreach to certain communities that right now we're, like you mentioned before, you know, Hispanics are one of those communities, and they're a big vote. Listen, we need to get that vote.
29% in 2024.
Huge.
But what I would say to my Hispanic community is like, look at me, all right? I come from Collier County, District 81. I don't look like my district. My district is a white district. My district, the average age is 80 years old. But you know what? This district thought this Latino woman from Puerto Rico that came here with nothing was the best person to represent them, because they saw in me a fighter. They saw in me passion. They saw in me principle. And that's what this country gives you. This is what the Republican Party stands for. So what I would say is, this is what we need to vote for. This is what we need to vote for Congressman Donalds to be our next governor. We need to vote Republican all the way, because the Democrat Party is not the party that was many years ago. This party is a communist socialist party, and they want to turn this country into the countries that we fled from. I came to this country from Puerto Rico, an American territory, but the socialist policies, even though we have our own democratic government, brought me here to this country. We don't want that here because that's what I left. If I thought my country that I love, Puerto Rico, was good, I would have stayed there. Nobody wants to come into a country that you don't know the language, you don't have family, you don't have friends. It's very hard, especially when you come with nothing. So remember that. Remember why you came in the first place. And I guarantee you, you will vote Republican because it's the only party that will keep these opportunities for your children, and this country will be better with a Republican government. And that's all I'm going to say to my Hispanics there.
Wow.
Got applause from Miss Lauren Maxwell. That's pretty impressive.
How do we not end it right there? I know. Next question. But of all the comments, that's the ultimate next question.
I can't wait to make
How do I say next question in Latina? How do I say next question? What she said.
In Latina. Pat, I didn't know that was
how amazing. So first of all, thank you for your passion. I know Lauren wasn't down here earlier, but we gave her a huge shout out. We love strong women. We've had some amazing strong women on the show. So thankful you came on this show. So thankful that we got to lock arms with you. We're so excited about your future. Hopefully you'll continue to fight for not just Latinos, but for all of us here in Collier County on a statewide level. What's she throwing to me? You come up on stage real quick. I know you're dressed down today. Come on up here. Normally, Lauren has her makeup. This is the host of our show. Here, don't take my microphone.
Yvette, on behalf of the Maxwell Mortgage team, you know I'm a big veteran supporter, and I want to give you our 2026 challenge coin.
Awesome.
You're amazing, and you do a phenomenal job, and I loved everything you said. So
thank you.
Hi, bye.
Thank you, Lauren.
Ladies
and gentlemen, Lauren Maxwell, the host of this and built this amazing podcast studio. My last comment as we wrap this thing up, then Pat, I'll get the last thing, was, again, amazing, passionate. So much more I want to talk about. We could be here for 4 hours, but promise me you'll come back on our show after the election, please.
We'll come back after the primary.
After the primary, yeah.
We need to do some work for the general.
Absolutely.
And I'll be on the ballot in November.
Okay,
Thank God I don't have a primary, but
vote YVETTE BENARROCH. You have to vote for YVETTE for sure. Let's keep
vote
Florida
for the vet.
great.
Vote for YVETTE.
Love it.
Vote for the vet. Vote for YVETTE. But my one last thing is when Byron wins his primary, are you going to be on the road with him trying to help court some more Latino voters around the state for him? Has there been a talk of, are you allowed as a state rep, you're allowed to go on the road and support Byron? Are you going to be doing that for him statewide?
Oh yeah, I'm going to do it even if he doesn't ask me because he knows I'm going to do it regardless.
Right.
He's a dear friend. I know in my heart he's going to do great things.
We love Byron, man. And Erica.
Erica, it's amazing. And so I'll be out there, once we get over this primary, we're all in for Congressman Donalds to be our next governor.
Oh, man. Pat, any last words?
No, just a pleasure to have you, Yvette. You know what you mean to me. It doesn't even have to be said, but you always know who your real friends are when you go through, your ups and downs, and you've always been there for me, and I love you, and to have you on the show, it's full circle, so thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you all very much. Great show. Thanks. Shout out to Ricky.
Go vote.
Go vote. Thanks to our audience, too, man. Great audience. Good job.